"What will we do?" said Johnny. "Just go," said Tom. "Yeah," said Johnny. "The dogs will find her," said Tom. "Yeah," said Johnny. "Are you ready?" "Ready when you are, my friend," said Tom. He was scared, but he felt good. They'd heard their mother's voice. They weren't lost. They'd nearly found her. They saw her dogs before they saw their mother. There were 4 of them, and it looked as if they were climbing all over a fallen log. Then they saw her lying in the snow away from the log. They'd found her. They came closer to the log. Her sled was broken and on its side, and the straps were tangled in the branches that were jutting from the log. Her dogs were trying to free themselves. As they came closer, one dog became more frantic. They watched and heard him trying to bite through the leather straps that had him trapped. It was Hastro. Their mother was lying on the slope. She was lying beside a boulder that was almost buried in the snow. "Hiya, lads," she said. Her voice sounded weak and wavy, as if she'd been shivering when she spoke. It scared Tom. She hadn't got up to hug them. She'd just turned her head to look. It scared Johnny. She hadn't moved at all. "Hiya, lads," their mother said. "Are you okay?" said Johnny. "I'm grand," she said, "but I think I'm after breaking something." "What?" said Johnny. "My leg," she said, "I think." Rock had pulled his sled, even with the brake teeth dragging piles of snow. He'd pulled it right up to Hastro. He stood now, right over Hastro, right on top of him. His paw was on Hastro's head, and his mouth was full of Hastro's neck. There was a yelp. It was the first thing they'd heard before they saw anything. It was Hastro that had yelped, and there was a growl. That was Rock. Johnny whispered, "He's teaching him a lesson." "Yeah," said Tom. He'd thought it at first, that it was going to be horrible, that he'd have to watch one dog killing another one. But then he knew it wasn't going to be like that. Without shifting his neck or paws, Rock lifted his head from Hastro's neck. They watched as Hastro stood, making sure he didn't touch Rock. He had to crawl out from under him. He had hardly any room as he got back up on all 4 legs, but he didn't touch Rock. Rock was the lead dog, and he was making sure that Hastro knew it. They looked down at their mother then, and they knew it wasn't over. It was only beginning. She was shivering now, her whole body. They could hear her teeth chattering. She was trying to smile, but they could tell that she was frightened. It was weird. It was horrible. Tom had expected her to hug him when they'd found her. He'd been cold and tired and very frightened. He was a kid. She was his mother. But she was lying on the snow, and she was broken and sick. Then something happened. He knew what to do. He just did. He knew what had to be done. "Fire," he said. "Yeah," said Johnny. They couldn't move their mother. It was dangerous to move someone with a broken leg. It would only make it worse. Johnny was pushing snow away, trying to clear a gap for the fire beside his mother. He did a full circle. It was good that they weren't too near a tree, not because it might catch fire. Aki had told them sometimes snow slid off the branches right onto the fire. His mother had gone very quiet. She was too quiet. Johnny knew. They'd have to keep her awake. They'd have to make her talk and answer. "Are you okay?" he said. "I'm grand." She closed her eyes. He pushed her shoulder. "Don't go asleep." "I'm cold," she said. "We're making a fire," said Johnny. He had to keep her talking. "What happened?" "What happened?" she said. "Oh, the usual. The bloody dog. What's his name?" "Hastro." "Hastro. We were way behind everyone. Then, whoosh, he took off, swerved off the path, and the other bow-wows went with him." "Were you scared?" "No, not really. But I've been scared since we got here." "What happened then?" "When Hastro swerved away." "Yeah," she said. "I don't know. Not at first. I thought he was taking a shortcut. And it wasn't that long, you know," she said. "Between then and here, I don't think we came that far." It was mad. So what happened then? What happened after Hastro broke away? Well, I went with him, she said, like I didn't want to be rude. The boys laughed. I don't know what happened exactly, she said. The sled hit something and I landed on that rock there. And I heard it. The old leg, she said. Not nice. I think the sound was worse than the pain, though. But the pain was bad. The shock, though. God. And here we are, lads, on our picnic. Meanwhile, they'd made a pile of twigs and needles and a teepee of punk branches right over it. Then Tom thought of something. We've no way to light it, he said. It was like being smacked on the head. Tom suddenly felt tired again and annoyed. Oh, yes, we do, said Johnny. Johnny turned to his mother. We need to light the fire. You know the way you pretend you don't smoke? I don't, she said. Okay, she said. Where do you hide your lighter? Pocket. Which one? Said Johnny. She lifted her right hand. She was able to, very slowly, and she tapped the pocket at the right side of the trousers part of the suit. You do it, she said. I can't feel my fingers. The boys got the fire lit and rolled their mother over to it. Tom lay down in front of his mother. Her arms went around him, and Tom felt the happiest feeling he'd had in all his life. His pillow was soggy muck and slush. It was horrible on his face, but that didn't matter. They'd saved their mother, and now her arm was around him. She was his mother again, and he was a different boy. He'd done something tonight that changed him. The achievement rested in his tummy like great food. And that was where they lay. They watched the fire. They fell asleep one at a time. They woke with shock, the cold, the fire. They slept again. The boys got up and fed more of the wood to the fire. At one point they woke up and the dogs were lying all around them. Around Johnny, Tom and their mother. Behind them and in front.